Hey guys, this is Tom Bucks, and we're going to be doing some YCS deck profiles for you guys, and these are some of the decks I haven't covered, so why not get the pros do it themselves? I had the pleasure of inviting Hanko Chow onto the channel, and he's going to run down his top 4th place Floowandereeze deck profile. Check it out. So we have with us Hanko Chow, who just finished top 4 in the recent remote YCS, so how are you feeling right now, man?
Tired. It's been a long weekend. I haven't eaten too much because, you're just sitting waiting. I probably should have eaten my dinner, but oh well. Yeah, overall just tired.
Okay, so I got a bunch of questions for you, but before we jump into the questions, I want to go through your deck list first, and then I kind of want to go deeper into your report. So, in terms of record during Swiss, you finish X and 2, and then you managed to hit the top cut, and top cut you finish within the top 4. So we don't have a full report on everything here, but you played Floowandereeze overall.
Yes. It's one of the decks that just got some new support from Battles of Chaos, and I think that it helps increase the consistency a lot in this deck, and helps you dodge like targeted effect negation, which was like a very popular thing to play. But I think by the 3rd week of Battles of Chaos, this deck is kind of like already being solved, and people are already adapting towards it. So like, yeah, this deck was good, but I don't think it was the best deck of the format, but it definitely had a lot of potential. So that's why I chose to stick with it. I did spend a lot of time practicing this deck, and this is what I finalized, and it looks really good.
It looks really streamlined, really cut down, like all the fat's been trimmed off. Let's go through the deck list here, and then I'll put a couple of questions within your deck list as well. So standard stuff, we got Floowandereeze and Robina, we got Triple Eaglin, one of each Stree and Token, and we have one Empen. I don't think there's any questions among the ratios. These are probably the best ratios you can play, and since you streamlined it to 40, we don't need the additional little birds. And I think just the additional card, the additional Rhoda S card, just made it even easier to actually get access to your monsters. We played one Rise of the Mega Monarch, one of the best removals, and unlike Tri Brigade, of course, we still have the package of Apex Avian and of course Barrier Statue of Stormwinds. Excellent Floodgate, and I think this is the only deck that still has like meta access to this. So what's with the 1 DD Crow?
Actually, shout out to my friend Cody. When me and him were talking about the deck, and preparing me for the YCS, like, DD Crow was one of the cards that like I was thinking about playing, but I couldn't. I don't know like why I should be playing it, right? But so I was like playing 2 Strees or whatever just to increase the Floowandereeze count. But like DD Crow comes up a lot in the situation where your opponent summons DPE, and when your opponent summons DPE, you usually want to use like Stree to banish it, along with like the Celestial and stuff. But like, they'll usually keep the DP as long as they can on the field, even if I get out Empen. And like, but the guaranteed thing that happens though is because it's summoned off of Fusion Destiny, it's gonna be destroyed at the end of the turn, no matter what. Okay. So that's why being able to add the DD Crow helps you solve the DPE more reliably than Stree.
Okay, that's fair. Yeah, that's fair. Of course, hand trap line, we have Triple D Shifter, the only deck that can really play this, I guess, aside from Grand Maju. Then we have Triple Ash Blossom, Joyous Spring. Why do you still play Ash? Well, I guess there's still Fusion Destiny for one thing, but like, what's the reason? A lot of people, like, they are like kind of iffy on this one.
Yeah, this card, when you look at the format now, like, you realize, yeah, there's a lot of like extremely heavy combo based deck that can play through Ash Blossom. This card's not very good against those decks, but it's a YCS level event, so you don't really know what you're heading into, right? Like, you could, I didn't really think that I would play that many combo decks, to be honest. I thought I would play like maybe the mirror match or even like just slower pace decks, and Ash Blossom and Permanence are like the only cards that are very like safe picks to play, and they're also the cards that you can activate while D Shifter is active. So I thought they were very safe picks for game 1 scenarios, but yeah, they definitely are less impactful against those heavy combo decks, and I side them out very quickly.
Yeah, okay. In terms of the pot count, we have triple pot of Duality, triple pot of Prosperity. I think this is just super consistent line of just normal summonable, pawnable cards. Then we have triple map. This is
Yep.
one of your best. Like this is technically
And
one of
no
your starters.
terraforming.
No terraforming.
Yes. No terraforming because map, while it is one of like the best cards in the deck, it's also one of the reasons why the deck bricks because you'll just draw multiple maps.
Okay.
With the release of Advent Adventure, the card relies you or makes you rely on drawing a wing beast along with it. So to be honest, you rather actually up the count to your wing beast, right? So so I actually did have terraforming in my deck before, but like the second Stree and like the second DD and the DD Crow were like the cards I like cut or that I had to swap in to cut the terraforming.
Mhm.
And not only that, but in one of my past like variations, I was playing like Mystic Mine with it. With this deck, and to be
Okay.
honest, I think that Mystic Mine actually has more potential now because of how hand traps are so prevalent in this format, and like, but like for this version, because I don't play Mystic Mine, terraforming has less purpose because it just makes drawing map redundant.
Okay.
So yeah, like drawing multiple maps or drawing multiple the high level wing beasts are the reasons why this deck bricks. So you want to try and minimize that. But
That's fair.
if we did play Mystic Mine, I would be playing terraforming.
Okay. Then we have the Floowandereeze and Unexplored Winds. This is the, I guess, the magical mallet, so to speak, and also the Stormforth that can send any card off of the field. Oh, really powerful card,
Yeah.
especially if you leave it face up during your opponent's turn, where
Yep,
there's
once you get
nothing
that set
safe
up-
anymore. This is one of my favorite cards in the deck, to be honest. And then, of course, we
Yeah.
have the new card. And the 500 extra life points that this card offered help you in any way.
I mean, I guess there was one game where my opponent almost OTK'd me and I had like 700 life points or something. So maybe
That's like kind
that
of...
could have helped.
You would have been at
Maybe that-
200.
I guess so, yeah. So like, I didn't win anybody in time with this card, so
Okay.
the 500 life points is not relevant.
Now, here's the card that I think a lot of people have questions on. The Book of Moon. A lot of people cut the Book of Moon because of the Advent of Adventure. What's up with the Book of Moon here?
Well, Book of Moon is still good if you don't draw into Advent because it still helps you dodge infinite permanents that I think people are still on infinite permanents, but yeah, Effect Veiler is less popular now because like people are either playing one or the other. They're not playing both together, especially when people know that this deck plays Advent and Adventure. They're not gonna activate that unless they're like gambling, but that's not like the only reason why you play Book of Moon. Book of Moon and Infinite Permanents are also like one of the two safer cards to use when you're going second against like Omni Negates or cards that interrupt your plays. You can just like activate them to like force interaction and then play out your Floowandereeze cards. Like I know that's like a high commitment level thing to do because if your Floowandereeze cards lose to their utility cards, then they just play with their board on the field and you lose. But like that's the sad thing about this format is how fast paced it is. Like I definitely do side out these cards when you go second against those combo based decks because they're rushing you down like turn 1 and 2. But like for a game 1 scenario, these cards are very safe picks to force out interaction. But also half the time when you're playing Floowandereeze, you're playing Barrier Statue Stormwind's Control. You're just summoning Barrier Statue and hope they don't answer it. And there are a lot of matchups that like are win based decks, so they can like still play the game like Virtual World. But like against all the other matchups, their safest out is normal summon attack. And yeah, you can use like map to counterplay that with by summoning like Mega Ryza to bounce it, or you usually have M-Pen set up so that way you set up a Dreaming Town, so you can like Dreaming Town to get an Apex Avian and use Trap Effect to flip their monster face down. But those two are unreliable because of like their utility cards can beat those kind of effects. Like they could have like what's it called? Let's see. They could like Ash Blossom my Robina. So if I like go Eaglin, Chainlink 1, Robina, Chainlink 2, and then I add my Apex Avian and I summon Robina to try and like tribute summon the Robina with the Eaglin to summon the Apex, then they could like Ash Blossom that Robina and then I'd be stuck with a statue in their attack with a monster, right? It's something like that.
Okay.
Like, there's a lot of scenarios where those two searchable outs are not reliable. So Book of Moon is just another way to help defend from normal summon attack over statue.
Okay. You seem to have like the flow of interaction kind of down pat already. So,
Yeah.
all right, that's a good one. We have one Call by the Grave. I think it's Call by the Grave, guys.
Actually, last but not least, when you do go second and you go with Book of Moon on flipping their special summon monsters face down, even if you don't attack over it, like because this deck doesn't attack over everything on turn 1, like you don't have UCT or anything, so like you would summon M-Pen attack over one thing, but then even on their turn when they flip summon that monster like the Wandering Griffin Rider or DPE, it's a special summon monster in attack mode. They can't activate their effects, so it's still like not as useful as they want it to be.
Okay, I know that's fair. That's a fair point. Fair point. Call by the Grave. It's Call by the Grave. Triple Imperm. We already kind of talked about this through the Book of Moon, and we have the Floowandereeze and the Dreaming Town, the additional you choose your timing on the main phase for this particular normal summon of a level 4
That's
lower
my
piece.
favorite card of the deck, actually.
It is a really powerful card. Being able to choose your time, it's like the interaction is better than map. Map requires them to normal summon. This one is just you get to choose.
Chainable.
Like, chainable.
Yeah.
Chainable. Very, very important.
And it's like an interruption itself because it's Book of Eclipse. Yeah.
Yeah, that part is I think that part is really underestimated. A lot of people know about the additional summon, but they don't know about the tribute summon of a level 7 or higher wing beast while this is engraved. That's a really, really big factor. I got a question about your main deck before we jump into the extra deck, since the extra deck's kind of quick here. Why aren't you playing, say, the Simorgh Bird of Perfection, the 1800 beat stick?
Well, yeah, that card helps you chain block a lot.
Yeah, it's a 2 chain block in one.
Yeah, but then you have to play the spell or the trap, and those cards are like the spell is definitely like really cool. It's an extender, it lets you like normal summon in one of your monsters, especially the higher level ones, and you reduce its level, so it's like a level 6 level. It turns your monster like 1 less tribute.
Yep.
So that's really cool, but it doesn't do anything on its own.
Okay.
It's just another 2-card combo that I'm not trying, that you have to rely on.
Okay.
Like
Okay.
it definitely has its purpose, but like it only combos with Eaglin or Robina.
Okay.
And it does up the wing beast count, but like, what card would I cut for it? This is already a perfect 40. Every card has a purpose. I have no reason to add this in if I have nothing to cut.
That's fair. That's fair. All right, let's go into the extra deck. I think we'll just run it down. Most of these guys, they're Maximus tosses for the most part. Entis, Papa Cars, Nova into Mechaba. Trish, you can summon it. Prima Donna to shuffle back a banished card. This is the shuffle back a card if something gets destroyed. Omega is just Omega. These are actually usable. We have the Lyrilless Assembled Nightingale, Downer Magician, if you somehow your opponent leaves you 2 level 1s. And of course, Zeus is Zeus. Zeus is the power play if somehow they let you have the power play, which is very strange. We have Underworld Goddess to crack boards. Shureg, because you do banish cards and most of your cards are level 1. If this gets tossed, it's actually good for you because you get to add a free bird, any of your birds.
Yep. And technically, you can make it.
Area, I'm not too sure, but why is Area here?
It's just like Win, because of how you can summon it.
Okay.
But like, there's nothing you're going. I really doubt there's gonna be a water monster in my opponent's graveyard for me to bring back. But
That's
like, these are the only 2 cards that you can like make to help you link climb into Underworld Goddess to help you beat the tower cards like Attic Mister, Math Mech, and Crooked Cook. So I just put in the area there. It doesn't have to be there. Probably could have been a Hida if I normal summon Ash Blossom.
It's a good way to address some of those big walls that might come up. Of course, Win can summon out our best Baron, and we have BLS because BLS is BLS. In terms of side deck, this is a very strong either go in or go home kind of side deck. Triple Dark Ruler no more. Triple Raigeki. I knew someone was gonna do this. I knew someone was gonna do it. I didn't think it was gonna be you.
I've seen some other people do it, but after I thought about it and already committed to it, and I was like, oh, I'm not the first one to think about this. I guess this is the thing, because like the problem with Floowandereeze is when you're going second, besides committing to the Mega Ryza line, there's no way for me to successfully clear an entire board. So one of my slots in my side deck had to be a board wipe, and it was going to be Lightning Storm, but because it's like, you know, generic and spell trap or monsters, but everyone's playing around Lightning Storm, or so I thought.
Defense mode, everything kind of gets annoying. Yeah.
So like Raigeki was just a much safer pick, and actually one of the games against like a 60 pile deck, I baited him out with all my Floowandereeze cards, and then I Raigeki him, and all he had left was a DP coming back, and then I just won on the following turn because all he had was a DP.
Okay. Well done, well done. Harvey's Feather Duster. These are mass backward removal. There's just a lot. No
Twin
Cosmics.
Twister was a safer pick though. Cosmic is because people do side or make
Lancia.
make Lancia against me. Like, and Twin Twister is also really good in the mirror match because you want to hit the trap. The trap can only be activated in the main phase, so it's just like Prank Kids Pandemonium. You can Twin Twister on any other phase, and you can't respond with a trap card.
Okay.
Yeah.
Triple blowout. This is your artifact scythe, more or less.
Win.
Yeah, this is more or less yours. We have one. You play the other trap with the counter trap card and the Scary Sea. Did you actually side this in?
Yes.
Okay.
I side this in anytime I can go first because it's a searchable turn skip. So,
Okay.
if it's a searchable turn skip. Like, so against decks that are already losing to M-Pen, they're siding in cards to like negate M-Pen. They don't. I don't know if they're gonna side into like Lightning Storm or whatever, but like,
they're still summoning something in defense mode, right? They're still trying to special summon something in defense mode without it.
Yeah, so like this card is a searchable turn skip, and then you can recycle it back as that spree Toucan combo, and your opponent just is over. Like that's the point of this deck, is to try and turn skip your opponent as much as possible with the Storm, the Statue, Dimensional Barrier, or Dimension Shifter, and the counter trap. Like, yeah.
Okay. And you have one Dark Simorg. Like,
yeah, that card's probably the worst card in my side deck. It never came up, and
was this for like Eldritch or something? I don't know.
Yes, it's played for the set 5 pass decks, which I think is still very relevant. But I never played against one, and it probably isn't good because they can just use Eldritch to beat it, or most of them are like playing with DPE or like Red Eyes Fusion, and I think this card was probably a mistake. I probably could have played something else, but it was searchable, and it could auto-win me the game, especially if I combo it with the Harpy Feather Storm, so they can't Golden Lord it.
That's fair point. All right, so that would be the rundown of the entire deck list. So I got a couple of questions for you. Number one, like, why'd you choose Floowandereeze? Like, there's so many Brave decks and whatnot. I get that there's a lot of Scythe decks. Okay, tell me why.
Well, yeah. So first off, like, yeah, in the first couple of weeks, like, I didn't want to play a deck that loses to Scythe, and like I was playing Prank Kids, and I was playtesting with the Brave stuff, and it was like a good deck. Yeah, it's a good deck, but like then I playtest this, and it was like, yeah, it's really good. Nobody knows how to play against it, and like Scythe isn't relevant, and people that do make Scythe against me, they commit so much to it that they actually waste an interruption to do the pop Scythe combo with DP or whatever, and then like, oh cool, now I can just combo and win, and then yeah.
Okay, meta call, right? This is kind of the anti-meta almost.
Yeah, but like I said before, like, it's by the third week of the format, I guess this may have not been the best pick because people are adapting with Droll and Ogre. But because D-Shifter exists, I thought, like, you know, a D-Shifter is another way to prevent those cards from activating. So I wanted to try it. I committed a lot of time to playtesting this deck, and it worked out. You know?
All right. Question number 2. I need to know your thoughts on Scythe. Should Scythe get an E-ban? It's dictated the entire format. Let's face it.
Yeah. I think it definitely shouldn't be something that's searchable. It shouldn't be something that's so easy to search for that any like 2 monsters or 4 monsters.
There's so many variants. I actually witnessed it throughout the entire YCS. Drytron, they search it with Ben 10. That was pretty gross. Any virtual world deck, they Beatrice it into the graveyard. Yep. And of course, anyone that makes Dagda, 1-card combo with the Cyber's package can immediately just shove it into the graveyard as well, or rather set it onto the field with Dagda and get the DPE pop right after. Like, there's just 3 ways to get there. I think it's like,
and not to mention Sanctum.
Sanctum did also happen over on YCS. It was also on one of the live stream matches. That was pretty insane. Like, Scythe has been in every deck possible, and it feels like we're in either you play a deck with Scythe or you play a deck without Scythe. And if you play a deck without Scythe, your deck better not be affected by Scythe.
Yeah. Back then, I would be like, yeah, just play Mystic Mine, and then like that way you can like skip their turn, and then on your turn play the game after, right? But then because adventure cards exist and you have Draco back as a searchable out, it really does mean that there's like no counterplay to Scythe.
Yeah.
Because everyone either sets up an Omni Negate or multiple ways to remove their Scythe, or like, it's frustrating. It's just frustrating how hard it is to play a deck that might lose the Scythe.
It's yeah, exactly. Exactly that.
It's definitely something that needs to be addressed.
Yeah. I think it's just guys, make sure you guys check out Hanko Chow's article on TCG Player, of course, because we're not going to all the details here. He's gonna have all the details for you over on TCG Player. Make sure you guys read it. All right, reading makes you a better player. Reading makes you a better player. I'm gonna repeat that one more time. Reading makes you a better player. Those who read do better. Okay, but yeah, well, thank you for sharing your top 4 deck profile for Floowandereeze, guys. Ladies and gentlemen, if you want to play the bird deck, if you don't want to deal with Scythe, this is probably one of your best go-tos for sure. And seeing Hanko take it to top 4.
You just want to draw Shifter and win? Like, I don't know.
It's still very interactive. It's not like you're gonna go Ooga Booga One Punch Man deck. This one does require. It's not a helmet deck whatsoever. It requires a lot of thought. And you know what? Shoutouts, man.
I think this deck is like Satellar Knights with Monarchs in it. Because all I'm hoping for all the time is like, man, I really hope I draw the Neb or like Robina. That's literally the game plan is draw the Neb and summon Monarchs. Yeah, shoutouts to TCG Player Infinite, of course, and my editor Jason and all my co-writers. You know, just whenever I put out an idea, we talk about it and it like motivates me. I want to shout out to my friend Cody again because he was one of the few people that were like talking about the deck with me, helped to refine this. And yeah, Cody Angeloff, I guess, like, as you know, on nights before, he was helping me chill and like relax, and just like I was convincing myself of other card choices, but you know what, I committed to this, and it worked out, so that's good.
All right, you know, congratulations once again for hitting your top 4 on YCS Remote. This is technically YCS Vegas, I guess.
Yeah, technically.
And thank you for your time, and you know, best of luck in your future tournaments, and I look forward to reading your article. Article is down in the description, guys. Please read the article. I can't emphasize that enough. You guys want to be a better player, understand all the card choices, even understand even more in depthly into the scenario at the top 4 round. Well, it's gonna be there. All right, guys, and thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one.